All right, this is Tattoos Throughout History by Aubrey Hill. What inspired this was just all of the different eras and chapters and periods of time and ethnicities, cultures that we've seen throughout this entire semester, and just kind of my thought process of I wonder what each of those different cultures looked like, and what kind of tattoos that they would have had during that time. Starting with, and mind, I may butcher this name, but Oziti Otzi the Iceman, we'll say that. He was discovered in 1991. He was discovered by some hikers on the Austrian-Italian border. He was carbon dated to around 3250 BCE, so he was more like a Neanderthal, I would classify him with. The interesting part about Otzi, we'll say that, is he had 61 tattoos and remnants of his bones. But what I found most interesting were they were in areas where the tattoos would make sense to be more of a therapeutic treatment. Like the back, knees, elbows, places where people seek treatment today. And the next culture is going to be the Jomon period. Now, there's no concrete evidence that there were tattoos during this period, but there are indicators, kind of like what we had seen with the African culture. There are visual representations of body modifications, such as the clay figurine I have on this page. Another indicator is it had a huge influence on a couple other cultures, and women in those cultures had tattoos, and that was kind of like their rite of passage into womanhood. I thought this was interesting that there was no concrete evidence, but then again, it was a very long time ago. So the next culture that I chose was Egypt. Now, this one was actually super interesting to me, because in the beginning, as I was reading, I was like a little bit offended in a sense, but the archaeologists who had found the Egyptian markings in the beginning thought that they could be indicators that the people who had the tattoos were prostitutes, dancers, just things of that sort, mainly women. And it was later discovered that not only did the sex workers who had those markings, it's just kind of like, hey, this is me, this is what I do, visual representation of what they do for work. But it was also found that it was used in ceremonies for like fertility, protection, also to protect against any type of sexually transmitted diseases, and to help with like fertilization. So used in more of like a ritualistic medicinal way, which I thought was super interesting. And then, of course, Oceania. I know everyone here probably has a friend that's of that culture and has those super beautiful tattoos of their tribe. I think it's beautiful, amazing. Um, and so what I thought was interesting about the Oceania is that the different islands and stuff kind of had their own ways to practice, even though they're far apart, but they kind of bounced around each other. I think the professor calls it cross pollination in a sense, even though of the same culture or descent. A lot of it is mainly focused around being more concrete in the powers of the universe type of a feeling. And the word tattoo actually comes from the Polynesian word ta, meaning to strike, and then I'm not even going to try to attempt this, tattoo, meaning to mark something. What I thought was also very interesting about this culture, and this isn't necessarily pertain to the scope of the class, but I thought it was interesting that the English men who had traveled to these areas kind of tried to eradicate tattoos, their tribal tattoos, because it was too pagan for them, which I thought was a little bit nuts, but makes a lot of sense. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Here is my works cited page. Feel free to pause and reference this, but I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.